It is 6:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. A couple walks through their front door after an exhausting, high-stress day at work. She immediately drops her bag, sighs deeply, and begins rapidly detailing exactly what went wrong. The passive-aggressive email from her boss, the traffic on the commute, the lingering anxiety about their upcoming weekend plans. She is seeking connection. She is seeking a sounding board. He, on the other hand, drops his keys, walks to the living room, sits on the couch, and stares blankly at the television. He is watching a documentary about deep-sea squids. He isn't actually processing the information about the squids. He is simply staring. When she asks him what he's thinking about, he replies with the single most infuriating word in the English language: nothing. She assumes he is ignoring her. He assumes she is actively trying to interrupt his recovery process. Within 10 minutes, they are in a full-blown argument, and neither of them has any idea why. Have you ever found yourself in this exact scenario, completely baffled by how a simple evening spiraled into a screaming match? To understand why this happens, we have to look past the surface-level relationship advice and dive directly into the neurobiology of how male and female brains process stress. Because they are not just speaking different languages, they are operating on entirely different hardware architectures. Let's start with the male brain. In popular psychology, this is often famously described as a system of highly organized, isolated boxes. There is a box for work, there is a box for the car, there is a box for relationship issues, and there is a box for the deep-sea squid documentary. The golden rule of this architecture is that the boxes do not touch. When a man is processing a problem at work, he opens the workbox, evaluates the contents, finds a logical solution, and then safely closes the box. But what happens when the stress is too high? What happens when there is no immediate logical solution? The male brain retreats to its ultimate sanctuary, the nothing box. From a neurobiological standpoint, we can look at a landmark 2013 study from the University of Pennsylvania. Researchers mapped the neural connectomes of nearly 1,000 brains. They discovered that male brains generally feature stronger connections running front to back within individual hemispheres. This structure is highly optimized for localized, single-task processing and executing immediate motor functions. So, when a man zones out on the couch, his brain is essentially shutting down non-essential systems. The nothing box isn't a state of ignorance. It is a critical biological stress relief mechanism. He is literally clearing his psychological cache to prevent a system overload. Now, let us cross the chasm and examine the female brain. If the male brain is a warehouse of isolated cardboard boxes, the female brain is a massive, glowing, highly sensitive web of fiber optic wires. Everything is connected to everything else. The same 2013 University of Pennsylvania study revealed that female brains exhibit significantly stronger connections running side to side, bridging the left and right hemispheres. This means the logical centers are in constant, high-speed communication with the intuitive and emotional centers. Work stress is intrinsically linked to financial anxiety, which is tethered to a memory of a past argument, which is wired directly into concerns about the future. So, when she experiences stress, it doesn't just go into one box. The entire web lights up. To regulate this overwhelming neurological activation, she has to externally process the data. She has to talk through it. Verbalizing the problem isn't about finding a quick fix. It is the actual biological mechanism for calming the nervous system. By speaking the web aloud, she untangles the wires. But what happens when the web of infinite connection slams into the fortress of absolute isolation? This is the exact moment the Tuesday evening argument ignites. She brings her glowing, tangled web of stress to him, expecting him to help her unpack it. But his brain operates on boxes. So, what does he do? He attempts to take her massive, complex web, shove it into a tiny logical box, and hand her a quick, pragmatic solution. Have you ever tried to explain a complex emotional problem only to be handed a ridiculously simple, logical solution? It feels incredibly dismissive. She feels unheard. Meanwhile, she sees him sitting in his nothing box and assumes something is terribly wrong. In her web-based architecture, silence is an indicator of a severed connection. So, she tries to force him out of the box to talk about his feelings. To him, this feels like an unwarranted psychological attack during his mandated recovery period. So how do we break this destructive cycle? The answer lies in translation, not transformation. If you operate on a web-based system, you must recognize that his silence is not a rejection. It is his biological reset button. Allow the nothing box to exist. If you need him to listen to your web, you have to explicitly state the rules of engagement. Say, "I do not need a solution right now. I just need you to listen." This stops him from desperately searching his boxes for a quick fix, allowing him to simply hold space. And if you operate on a box-based system, you must understand that her verbal processing is not an attack, and it is not a puzzle you are being asked to solve. Do not reach for the nearest logical fix. Your job is not to build a box. Your job is to witness the web. When we stop expecting the other person to operate on our native operating system, the frustration evaporates. We stop fighting the biology, and we start understanding the person behind it.